Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Visser. I spent my whole life in the pursuit of health, well being, and longevity. In this podcast, I will take you on a journey through the wilderness of scientific research and experiential knowledge. Together, we will clear a path towards optimal health, well being, and longevity. I'm a former Minister of Health and Sports with a PhD in medical sciences, published researcher in the fields of childhood obesity and lifestyle medicine. In these roles, I implemented policy and personal solutions and monitored outcomes for over a decade. I was fortunate enough to work with 21 countries and successfully put the Aruba call to action on the agenda of PAHO and the World Health Organization in 2011. I started my career as a doctor of chiropractic focused on mind-body medicine, nutrition, and sports medicine. Today, I develop digital platforms to inform and educate by bringing science-based solutions to as many people as possible. I'm excited to share my knowledge, know-how, my methods with you. So please join me on the Visser Podcast. Welcome to the Visser Podcast, where we'll be discussing health, wellness, and longevity. Join me on this journey where we'll be really talking about the essence, how to make a difference in our lives and the lives of people we love. Let's start with the smallest one, microbiome. This is episode 1. Welcome. So to talk about the microbiome, we have to really go back in time because we're talking about innate immunity versus acquired immunity. And the start of all this was in the mid 1800s in France, where we had two scientists. One that is super famous, which is Louis Pasteur, who developed the germ theory. An amazing scientist that discovered that microorganisms can cause fermentation and disease, developed the process of pasteurization, saved the wine and beer industry and also the silk industry, and then went on to develop vaccines against anthrax and rabies. An amazing man. On the other side of that coin, as contrarian, was the fellow named of Antoine Béchamp. And he developed the terrain theory. Béchamp was comprehensively wrong, but not absolutely so. So his idea that microorganisms are necessary to good health and that beneficial microbiota are pathogenic under the wrong conditions or the wrong place is now the standard view of researchers who study the microbiology of animals and plants. So it took some time, but we're basically looking right now at an area of research that is just beginning, a new science of microbiome. What is microbiome? A lot of you have probably heard of it. I'm going to go through it real quick. These are organisms that live all around us. They're everywhere, but on our bodies. We're going to talk about on our bodies, on our skin, our scalp, our hair, eyes, nose, everywhere. But what we're going to talk about is the gut biome specifically, because that has huge effects on us. Skin also, but the gut biome is what we're talking about today. So we're talking about 100 trillion microorganisms that live. 10 times the amount of human cells we have. Those, and we're their host. So these microbes, which are, bacteria, fungi, cells, viruses, live within us. And if we look at the gut microbiome, we're talking about the mouth, teeth, tongue, going into the esophagus, stomach, small intestines, large intestines, the whole way out. When the food enters to when it gets out. So we have, of course, 3 organs that play a key role in also digesting the food, which is the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. We'll get to that later. But really what we're talking about is that whole canal. So in that canal, the biome changes. So there's different biome here than there is in the esophagus, than there is in the stomach, you get it, because it all has different functions. So with 100 trillion organisms doing their job, it's mind blowing. So what is their job? What is the essentially what they do for us? What would life be without the microbiome? Let's start there. Well, there would be no life. We'd be dead. So let's let's get that off. But let's look at then what they do. Well, they're vital for digestion. They help us break down complex carbohydrates into a simpler form, the starches, the fibers. They break everything down and create the minerals, vitamins, and the nutrients and chemicals we need to survive. So let's look at a couple of these that are created from the gut biome. So we have biotin, B12, folic acid, thiamine, vitamin K. It regulates how we uptake calcium, so bone density comes into play. These are the conversions, some of the conversions. If we look at when we eat turkey, eggs, chia seeds, we're looking at a substance called tryptophan, if you heard of. Tryptophan gets converted to 5-HT, which is serotonin, needed to be happy. Okay, it gets further broken down and becomes melatonin. We need that for sleep. Without it, we don't sleep. We have tyrosine coming from lentils and almonds. This produces dopamine, epinephrine, adrenaline. So this is the motivation, the go get 'em, the let's do something today. Let's move, a reaction to something that's happening in your environment. If we don't have that, we don't react. We just lay down and drool, basically. And lastly, I'm going to talk about indole 3 lactic acid, ILA. ILA turns into IPA. IPA is indole propionic acid. That is one of our biggest antioxidants produced in the gut by the microbiota. Protection against disease is insurmountable. So we have these microorganisms that live in a symbiotic environment with us and basically help us communicate to our brain for protection. And more than that, depression and anxiety is linked to the microbiome in the gut, in the stomach. So there's a direct link to the brain. The brain talks to the stomach through the microbiome. In discussing this, we have studies that have linked the microbiome to health, weight control, lower levels of blood sugar, prevention of diabetes, control of long-term low-grade inflammation, which is the precipice of chronic disease. It's key in the development of lymphoid tissue and influence the composition of T cells in the laminate propria. So this is what protects us. This is the basis of our body's protection systems. And like I said before, the nervous system and mental health link is huge. So with this basis, how do we regulate and optimize these microbiota? Why did we start off talking about Deschamps? Well, and the germ theory from Louis Pasteur. Well, because there needs to be a balance. If we become too cleanly, if we over sanitize, we kill too many bacteria. We kill the good bacteria. We kill the biome, and then we're in trouble. At the same time, we need to also give our bodies and children time to acclimate to the environment. Play in the mud, play outside, get their bodies the right microbiomes. The diversity of the microbiome is what's going to protect us. So we need to create and build a very diverse colony of microbiome. And that starts when we pass through the birth canal. But we'll talk about that in the next episodes. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe if you like the content and you want to continue on this journey. Ring the bell for notification. And we'll see you on the next episode. And I promise you, it's going to be good.